They were going in, they were eating someone, and they were trying to leave, and they were being denied that opportunity because they hadn't paid their bill yet, right?
And gotta pay your bills.
And I mean, that's part of the problem that we had with that draft. I think both of us, just kind of, all three of us really, probably all five, we include the casters, agree that the draft just didn't make a whole lot of sense from the Gangstar side.
All right, well, let's see if their draft makes a little bit more sense this time round. It's game number 2. Team Solomid 1 game up in the series of the finals. They're going to be banning away that Ringo. Adagio is the answer from Gankstars. And TSM actually lock in Vox over Lyra.
Yeah, I like this first pick. A lot of
similar.
times I wouldn't have said this necessarily as the first pick on A side, but with Ringo banned, that's one thing that Vox struggles with. And Adagio is another laner that can do pretty well against Vox, and we know that specifically Araki really likes that pick. So yeah, I think it's a good, strong first pick.
I just think it's kind of funny that this is identical to the first 3 selections made. First 4 selections identical now from game number 1, just with the team swapped. But Gankstars, they're going to make sure that Krull does not come through. Those crazy sword throws that Vonsi was able to hit early on in the game, not going to be coming through.
In the same rotation, they deny the weapon Lyra and the weapon Krull from both Tasty Bacon and I. TSM does have a chance to answer with a ban here, though.
See, I get disoriented when you start saying things like that.
See, we got to figure out one really unconventional pick that Humanist loves, just so that Vonsi can play that too.
Ozo.
No, don't play
"That's
Ozo
not
once. You don't do it, dude. We need to work on that off stream before you pick it again.
Team Solomid. Going to be banning away the Finn here. Gankstars.
I'd love to see Vonsi play the CP Ringo, actually, as far as the ones that you guys talk about being off the wall.
Not going to be happening in this game, though. Banned out.
Yeah, not this game, but as far as you
just want the CP Ringo to actually have a chance.
So to the draft here. I can't hear you, Bacon. Lance picked up for Gankstars. This is a go-to pick for them for sure.
Okay, hello.
Okay, this is the TSM have the burst comp that we saw before.
Yep.
Weapon Vox, the Koshka. They can highly mobile. That's what you want to pair with the Flicker here.
Yeah, I really like Flicker with a Koshka. That's what we saw when we had the Flicker come out yesterday. It was with the Koshka. They were able to just dominate the early game up against what could be the Lyra in the lane. I feel like maybe Gankstars kind of rethink this last pick, maybe take someone else up into the lane instead.
They can't exactly block the Yummy Catnip Frenzy if the Koshka's invisible.
I mean, you can, you just kind of have to get lucky.
Yeah. Well, it would be very lucky. That's pretty difficult to do.
Can't block it if you don't buy a reflex.
That's also true. That's my strategy whenever I
Can't
have
miss the
interact.
block if you don't have a reflex.
Yeah.
Gankstars, we got a last pick potential here. All the bonus time available. They can really think about what they want to go for. Is Gwen a good option here? Skedaddle to get out of the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. The reveal on the buckshot to show everyone when they go into the Flicker ultimate.
I think the reveal from Gwen on the buckshot is actually super useful. I don't know if that's enough to...
But then, are we talking Captain, Lyra, Jungle Lance?
Yeah. Why not?
And a CP Gwen coming in? Not as strong as she once was.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it's not something that you
weapon
couldn't
here.
do.
They've already shown they're willing to go double weapon.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you could theoretically also do the Captain Lyra with the Lance going a little bit of crystal damage.
I think if he's building crystal, it's more for his disable factor.
Exactly. Well, that's what I meant. Crystal path, not the crystal damage, because he doesn't get extra damage from the crystal, but he gets a lot of utility instead. They're going to hope to spot their opponents out by just dropping some mortars on their head.
Could work.
Good luck, have fun.
I feel like Baron is really going to struggle early.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not often we have a unanimous agreement on the desk here.
I'd love to disagree with you guys. Baron, we've just seen it time and time again. Like, he needs early mid game to go his way. At least make it to the mid game without too much pressure. That's all Flicker does, is pressure you early game, among other things.
Yeah, and also I feel like Baron, you need to hit a certain point in the game to be useful, and Koshka, Vox, Flicker, none of those things really allow for that, but neither do the defenses that the Baron has on his team. I don't think the Lance and Lyra are good enough to get him to that point.
The other concern is, we were just talking about, do you take the Gwen and go CP with it because you have the Lyra and the Lance? Very similar situation with the Baron. Like, you're going to want to go weapon Baron. Do you then take the Lance into the jungle and go the double weapon? I still feel like taking the Lance, building some Crystal on him, and getting that extra utility could be useful.
Like Stormcrown Aftershock,
Yeah.
kind of like the cooldown build, something like that.
Something similar, yeah.
All right. By the way, update from the background, ladies and gentlemen. C9 did take game number 1 up against Rogue. We'll keep updating you as that match continues, and the VOD will be available early next week on YouTube and Twitch. We're nearly ready to head on to the Halcyon Fold. I want some final predictions, potentially final predictions.
I predict Gankstars will lose this game.
I predict Humanist will be correct.
So you're not predicting TSM will win, though. Does that mean that Gankstars will end up losing because they threw or something? Is that
No,
is that,
I think
that's
they
a
end up
TSM
losing.
not going that
prediction.
deep?
I think Gankstars end up losing because they didn't draft very intelligently on the second game or the first game.
Well, let's find out if it pans out that way as we head on to the Halcyon Fold. This could be our last matchup of Week 1 of Day 2 of North America. Let's hand it on over to Jaws and Excoundrel.
Oh boy, we're back. TSM and Gankstars. My goodness. TSM looks super strong in that first game. Can Gankstars pull it back? We'll have to wait and see. Game number 2. My name is Jaws, joined by the wonderful Excoundrel. And we are in already onto the fold.
Well, I mean, Gankstars do have Wrecked on his Lyra. This is something that is unanimously thought of as a bad, hero to give away to a guy that is so gifted with it. But, like I said, there's a super aggressive draft, you have to say, coming out from TSM. And it's the one way that you shut down a Baron is by putting loads of pressure onto him early. And A, Koshka can do that, and B, a Flicker can do that. And it looks like Flicker is already in position to start making stuff happen. But Gankstars seem to realize this and are kind of on board.
Oh, they are on board, but Rex is going really low. He gets under his own
Vonsi!
turret, but Vonsi, oh my goodness, almost went down. Vonsi, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful next time. That was so close, and Gankstars, you weren't wrong. They were so prepared for that dive.
I think they're kind of being aware. I think TSM have definitely telegraphed kind of what they're expecting to do to this Baron with the Koshka and the Flicker. So Gankstars, I think, are going to be in a position to try and do that. Rex is very low. Flash X already coming in here.
They're going on him yet again. Yeah, he has got the healing, and Araki Zoro was in a fairly aggressive position, so TSM, they're going to have to back off, but putting the pressure down early is exactly what they did.
Yeah, but you've got to do that against the Baron. That's kind of what is expected when you're going up against the Baron. Pressure him early so he can't farm to the late game. It's the one way that you deal with him, and Koshka is an excellent hero to do that, as is Flicker. But Flicker, realistically, his role is to be aggressive in the early game, to get these lane ganks off, to be an absolute nuisance. And you combine that with Vonsi, you've got a lot of burst damage coming through as well. Definitely, there's going to be Araki Zoro on the ropes for the majority of this early game.
Oof. Xenotech tried to get a Githian wall on the invisible Flash X, but Flash X was nowhere nearby. So
Well, yeah, it's the best way to approach it. I mean, other than having
true.
a scout trap there.
Best Chakane gets jumped on, Impale does land. However, Flash X is going to be there for safety as well. And yeah, I can imagine they're just going to itemize heavily towards just making sure they know where Vonsi is, they know where Flash X is, so they can just keep Araki Zoro safe.
And speaking of itemization, it's going to be a contraption at some point here for... actually, Araki Zoro has to be careful.
Oh, he does have to be very careful. Does jump jet away. However, Flash X still on the pursuit. Wrecked, going fairly low. Flash X taking a turret hit even. Yeah, did it again, strike 2. TSM going very aggressive, but yet again, just the ability to just get out of sticky situations is kind of Lyra's special.
Oh, cheeky Vonsi. 2 levels up now onto Xenotech. And Xenotech on this Lance jungle is just not having a nice time versus this aggressive play coming out from Vonsi. Really, really aggressive. But you need to be aggressive. We talked about it. This composition is designed to be aggressive. And you can see the flare guns come out from Wrecked right now. He knows exactly where he's going, even potentially before his fountain, going straight for the contraption, knowing that the fountain actually isn't as necessary because they don't want to fight. So if they can avoid the fights as best as possible and wait until fountain comes out as second item, it's kind of playing to their game plan anyway. But the contraption, that is exactly what you need against this Flicker.
Oh man, like the itemization path is just so... Well, you could say it's just really good here from Wrecked. I mean, as soon as you get that vision down, you can see him popping a flare every few seconds. And there you go. It's up there.
Contraption's already done. Here comes the endless scout traps across the entirety of the map. Flicker's worst nightmare.
That's gonna be
Literally
so
scout
annoying.
traps for days.
Scout traps for days. My goodness, it's going to be just entirely filled with red little dots, isn't it? That's what the
Yeah.
map's going to become.
Very much so, but the one problem you will have for Gankstars right now is without a fountain, you are susceptible to engages coming out from TSM. So you have to be making sure that if you're using that contraption to its full capability, you're keeping tabs on where Flash X is at all times to make sure you aren't getting engaged on. Because without fountain, you are very, very weak in a teamfight situation.
Woof. Wow, Githian Wall straight onto Von C there. And yet again, the Blighted Bulwark doing a lot of work yet again in this game. And as you said, they want to get on top of Raki Zoro or Wrecked, but it's going to be so tough for that to actually happen. And kind of a, not like a stark contrast to last game, but it's a very much more even early game for both of these teams already.
Unitech's gone Storm Guard banner on Lance Jungle.
Oh. That's odd.
Are they playing basically almost double captain, protect the Baron?
I guess. Yeah, no damage for you, just pure protect the Baron. I mean, if he goes full damage as well, without hardly any defensive items, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but putting all your eggs in Araki Zoro's basket, I mean, I definitely would, that is for sure. The guy is an absolute monster in lane.
Yeah, on a Baron as well. Look at this, Flash X having
Flash
no
X.
joy running around the map, trying to be as
Oh, wow. Fonzie going in there, Araki Zoro going really no. Nice double impale coming through for Xenotech. Fonzie's going to have to be careful. In fact, he just goes down, but Bestia Kane dives straight under the turret, picks up Araki Zoro. Didn't manage to pick up Wrecked, however, on an inch of HP, but really nice replay there coming through from Bestia Kane. Knew where the threats were, jumped straight under the turret, got the kill.
Yeah, that's actually not bad at all for Gankstars, though. 1-for-1 at this point in the game. They'll take that every day of the week. Unitech now, oh wow, okay, this is going to be TSM Flash X being super aggressive, trying to clear out as many scout traps as possible. But as long as Rekt keeps placing them, as long as Rekt keeps vision up across the map, you've got to keep tabs on Flicker, and if you can keep tabs on a Flicker, that's where Flicker starts to sort of wane in terms of its usefulness. We'll walk straight over Rekt again. These scout traps are going to spot out Flash X once more.
Oh,
And
man.
Rekt doing exactly what you do with a contraption, which is just literally spam scout traps all over the map, 24/7.
The map will have chickenpox by the end of it. You thought it might be eradicated, but nope. It's back. Oh dear. Flash it. Every time he goes into a bush. Doot, doot, doot. And then
Yeah,
it's
but I
back
mean,
off.
obviously there is a cooldown for contraptions, so
Very true.
if you can clear scout traps quicker than Rex can lay them, then you'll manage to keep on top of your sort of strengths as being a flicker. And actually, you're actually forcing Rex back here, which is allowing them to take this first structure of the game.
Oh my
TSM
goodness.
already off to a blind to start.
Wow. TSM, yeah, really coming into their element here.
Oh,
And,
Iraqi Zoro ion cannoned himself.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Wow. 8-second cooldown, not something you want to blow. And they are just going to make sure TSM are kept at bay. However, Von C says not today. Goes in with the Captain Frenzy. It doesn't land, though. Does get blocked, but Best Jack and Ace in the back line. Xenotech's taking a lot of damage. Flash is now in a 1v3 situation. One more auto will do it. Xenotech does steal it away from Araki Zoro's rocket, but that does mean they trade 1 for 0 here with Flash X being down. They really could just push on this turret.
Hey, they won that without a fountain as well. The double Dragon Heart coming out from Rekt means they actually have a really decent level of healing coming out from the Lyra already. Maybe not even needing the fountain for that fight because all the healing came from the Imperial Sigil. And they somehow come out on top. Brilliant reflex block by Araki Zoro to stop Von C's engage potential there. And Gankstars looking pretty solid in this game.
They are indeed. I really want to see Araki Zoro actually get to the kind of late game because it's going to be the point in where
Well, they're
Von
funneling
C's
all
going
the
to
farm
have
on
to
him.
jump in. Yeah,
Look at
well,
this.
exactly.
They're giving him all the farm because Xenotech is basically playing second captain.
They're literally, yeah, they just clumped all the jungle creeps up and then let him just AoE them down. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? Look at that. Just the differential in the CS between these between everybody is absolutely insane as well.
Well, actually, TSM are on the upper hand of it, right? Because they've got a CS difference
That's
of
true.
Von C, and actually Best Chuck and A is ahead of Iraqi Zoro. So realistically, they're trying to keep Iraqi Zoro on level pegging with Best Chuck and A. But this is kind of a very Druid-esque gameplay style. You know, Phoenix Armada did this for Worlds, basically gave all of the farm to Druid. Druid hit item spikes way quicker than everybody else and just carried very quickly. Flash X again, foiled by a scout trap. Rekt just spamming them all over the map.
Oh man, it's going to look like chickenpox in a minute, I'm going to tell you that. But Flash X, he's going to have to get the jump, I think, on Arakizoro. Same with Von C. I mean, if he lands a full yummy catnip frenzy onto Arakizoro, I can imagine that he's just going to get insta-deleted across the map, off the map, and maybe that's going to be something they're going to have to do. But are they going to pick up, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a double Crucible here on the side of Gankstars, just to make sure that doesn't happen?
Maybe. I mean, I definitely think someone needs a fountain. Like, Rekt has still not picked up a fountain. He's gone for Crucible's second item. I definitely would like to see somebody get a fountain. You know, you can't overstate how useful that item is in almost every situation. But for the most part, they are just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to get to that late game for the Baron, and that's completely fine. That's the way you want to play this. And if not having a fountain means you're just basically laying scout traps and not fighting, I think Gankstars are going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, most definitely. And we actually seen how Gankstars can play the map as well, so it definitely could work to their advantage. Their control over the waves, the minion waves, is very, very good, but does look like they actually want a bit of this one. Githy and Wall 2 people. Von C is going to have to back off here. Flash X in a lot of trouble. Ion Cannon comes down. It does end up missing, unfortunately, but Best Chuck and A is going to be able to escape as well. Ultimate pop from the flicker, everybody turns invisible, and they all run away. But really fantastic re-engage there from Gankstars, and this is exactly what they seem to need to do.
Well, actually, Rekt is just basically stopping anything that TSM want to do right in their tracks. TSM, with the Koshka, can't get past that Bright Bulwark. Once the engage gets foiled, as long as Arakizoro is hitting his reflex block, TSM are basically, they're sat there doing nothing. They get a turret for their toils.
They do get a ton of yummy Catnip Frenzy, just foiled once again. Best Chuck and Ace following up with the damage. He ends up picking up 1 kill, and that's the main damage dealer. Remember, it's pretty much 2 supports on the side of Gankstars. Rekt is going to go down as well after they just turret dive him. Xenotech, last member alive. Will he be able to survive? TSM are just diving between 2 turrets at this point. They need the kill. They want it so badly. They get the ace, though, and this is exactly what they needed. Best Chuck and A, he's got 3-0 right now. And they have this wave as well. They're going to be able to take this turret, Scoundrel. What can they do after this?
Well, maybe not too much because Arakizoro is back up, but they'll be happy with just the turret on the board. I think Gankstars got a little bit greedy for their first turret of the game. They allowed Von C to get way too much damage down onto Arakizoro for free. You know, he didn't even need to worry about the Yummy Catnip Frenzy because he'd already landed with the Twirly Death empowered basic attacks. So, I mean, he was perfectly happy in that situation. And again, then they chased them down. Fountain would have been so useful there, potentially. Could have even won them the fight, but they didn't have it. And this is where you're starting to question when, as if anyone is going to pick it up, because it looks like Xenotech's just gone Full Metal Jacket, as far as I'm aware. And War Treads has actually been prioritized by Rekt over the Fountain. Yeah, I definitely... I'm just going to say it now, would love to see a fountain on them at some point.
I think it's the 3rd time you've heard say it.
Yeah.
They are going to jump in yet again. Von C is jumping in right in the back line yet again. The only Catnip Frenzy is going to be blocked. Ion Cannon comes down, doesn't do enough. Will mean Best Chuck and A has just got free reign in this fight. Arakizoro just disappears off the map, and Xenotech is left alone once again. Von C is going to be able to clean this fight up. They take the Crystal Sentry as well. TSM, they are coming through in this best of 3 so strong. A pure titan on the NA scene right now, showing and proving they are the best team, or one of the best teams here.
No, I mean, they if they win this series, they keep that solid mantle as the best team in North America. They've had that mantle for quite a number of months right now, and they're certainly proving it once again. Still no priority for a Fountain here, and you can't help but Fountain probably would have been useful in that fight, Jaws. Hey,
hey.
I'm going to keep saying it because I can't get over the fact. Anyway, what's happening here is, you know, basically Flash X, Von C, everybody is sort of barreling in with those War Treads, getting Von C to the back line, getting him on top of Arakizoro. Even if the Yummy Catnip Frenzy gets crucibled or reflex blocked, the pure damage output from Von C right now is too much for Arakizoro to go for, or to deal with rather, because, you know, he hasn't got any shielding. He hasn't built, he has actually, he's now got a little bit of shielding, but he hasn't really got any substantial shielding there. And with Von C having the Broken Myth, he's already got those piercing stacks stacking up, so that shielding, the way it is right now, really doesn't make that much of a difference. Now, we are at 3 items for Arakizoro. He has now picked up his Tyrant's Monocle. We'll have to see how much of a difference that makes.
Oh man, this is the kind of breaking point, as you'd say, in his build. But thing is, 2 monocles on the side of Best Chuck and A, and he's doing a lot of damage, and he's cleaning up the fights along with Von C as well. It's just been an absolute showing from TSM, and I really want to see them if they can pull it off again, because Iraqi Zoro is just nowhere to be found in these fights.
I gotta say, when you put all of your eggs in one damage dealer's basket, especially against something like a Koshka, who is so good at just blowing that singular target up, if they take out Iraqi Zoro, there isn't actually anything left for Gankstars to fight with. Which means it's why it just surprises me that you haven't put all of your defensive itemization in, especially even Xenotech having picked up some more defensive itemization, like even like an Atlas Pauldrons, for instance. I don't know, why. Maybe if Best Chuck chooses to ignore them.
Scoundrel, they're coming through in stealth. Rector's gonna have to be careful. Yummy Cammy Frenzy gets blocked in again, but I'm not sure it's gonna matter. They're jumping straight onto Iraqi Zoro. He goes down once more. Xenotech's gonna get rooted up as well. He's gonna fall. Double kill comes through for Von C, and Lyra is nowhere to be found in the base. Just had to get back. Blinking health bars on the side of TSM as they tank up a couple of turret hits, but yet again, they come through and they just insta-gib Iraqi Zoro, and that is the end of the fight.
Do you know why that is? It's because they don't give a flying poo about the rest of the team. They're not doing any damage. Why would you care about a Lyra and a Lance with a Storm Crown? They're not going to do any damage to you. What's the point of even trying to kill them? You just run past them. And it's up to Xenotech and Rec to peel for Iraqi Zoro. But if they can't manage that, if they can't peel through the War Treads engage that Flasex is pulling out every single time, Iraqi Zoro just dies. And TSM are like, they're doing exactly the right thing. They're saying, do you know what? Why would we even bother respecting the Lance or the Lyra when they're not actually doing any damage and they're not actually threatening us in any way, shape, or form? We're just going to run straight past them and kill Iraqi Zoro, because if we kill Iraqi Zoro, we win the game. Every time. Which is why it's just so funny to me that we haven't seen anything like a Fountain, which could, I know it might not, but it could potentially keep your Baron alive. Given that Baron is the only target that matters.
Please, someone buy a Fountain really quickly, because I'm kind of scared
I'm probably going to have an
your
aneurysm.
health. Yeah, that's my issue. I mean, this is not looking good for Gankstars, that's the thing, and it's not looking good for you either. Big Scoundrel has an aneurysm because Rector Xenotech does not have a Fountain by the end of this game. I'm going to have to find a new caster, unfortunately, because he might die.
So I guess one of the redeeming factors for Gankstars is if they get to a 4-item Baron, which they might not do.
They might not do, because this could be the end of the fight. Vonnik's going to jump in there. Xenotech's getting destroyed, but finally Iraqi Zero's in this forward, this backwards position.
Look at the damage!
However, the Ion Cannon comes through. Best Chuck and A's going really low, but Koshka, she doesn't really care. She jumps around the back line. Iraqi Zoro versus 3. He's normally the first one to die. Now he's the last. Von C comes up big on the Koshka, comes up big for TSM. TSM are going to take this best of 3 2-0. They don't need a game 3, Scoundrel. They're just going to take the crystal and walk home with it.
We might have had shake-ups with Europe's rosters. We might have had shake-ups in the top dogs in that scene. But I tell you what, TSM stand tall in North America. They are still on top in the North American VG8. They are still the team that is dominant. Who can stop this iteration of TSM? They feel like it's the new Team Secret, but the North American version, because they are on track to win absolutely everything. And if they continue this, there's absolutely no one that can stop them. TSM looking fantastic, Jaws.
They look absolutely incredible. And obviously the analyst mentioned as well about the team houses, where Gankstars obviously have a team house, so do TSM. And I think maybe that's kind of the... Gankstars, they didn't look so hot in this best of 3, but they have looked so good in this tournament so far. Maybe this is the kind of upper echelon of what you need to kind of do to make sure your team is in top performance to play at these tournaments.
Absolutely. I mean, TSM have had a house for quite a while now, I believe. I think it happened sometime last year. And, I see the guys on Twitter, they all look like they get on incredibly well. It looks like it's a really healthy team environment as well. I honestly, it's all ups for TSM right now, and they definitely look like the team that's going to be flying the North American flag come the Unified Live Championships.
Oh man, those live championships are going to be so hype, and I'm definitely ready for them, but we do need to break that down a little bit more. We're going to jump over to AJ over on the desk. That is it from me and Scoundrel for this little while. We'll see you guys very soon.
Thank you very much, guys. All right, Team Solomid taking the finals in 2-0 fashion. That